DSC and CBC to help ensure the vehicle remains stable. DSC monitors steering inputs and vehicle response, reduces engine power, and applies individual wheel braking where necessary. For off-roading, when maintaining momentum is key, DSC can be switched off. This prevents DSC from reducing engine power when it's most needed. Your Range Rover has a permanent four-wheel drive system. This means that power for all four wheels is always available without input from the driver. Permanent four-wheel drive has benefits in all conditions. On dry roads, it improves handling, braking, and overall control. As weather and road conditions change, Range Rover's four-wheel traction is always available. The 5-speed automatic transmission is coupled with a 2-speed transfer gearbox providing high and low range. It is an integral part of the four-wheel drive capabilities and has features engineered for specific driving situations. For normal on-road driving, select Drive and use high range. Gear changing is automatic on all 5 forward gears. When more power is needed, move the shift lever to the left to select Sport Mode. Sport Mode holds a gear longer, raising engine revs for increased performance. The automatic transmission features Command Shift, making the vehicle more responsive to driver commands. With the gear shifter on the left, Manual Mode can be activated to manually select each of the 5 gears. Moving down will change the transmission to a lower gear, moving up to a higher one. Command Shift is helpful for rapid acceleration or when engine braking is required. You can move up or down repeatedly to reach the desired gear. To deselect Manual Mode, just move the shifter to the right to drive. The transfer gearbox should be in high range for everyday driving on pavement and on well-graded gravel surfaces.
Use low range for rough off-road conditions requiring low speeds and towing.
Shift to neutral and move the transfer box lever back, then release. Wait for the low range light to stay steady. A tone will sound, and low range will be displayed in the message center for a short time. Remember to raise the suspension to the off-road mode. Shift to drive. To shift back to high range, just reverse the process. Remember, the automatic transmission must always be in neutral when shifting between high and low. Once you're familiar with the procedure, you can shift from high to low at speeds up to 10 miles per hour and low to high at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. Remember to read your owner's handbook for a thorough explanation of the automatic transmission and transfer gearbox operation. With the purchase of your vehicle, you are entitled to complimentary scheduled maintenance visits during the 4-year, 50,000-mile new vehicle limited warranty period. A copy of the warranty was included with your owner's handbook. Please contact your Land Rover retailer for additional details. Services are determined by an onboard computer, which monitors your driving habits and conditions, and calculates the mileage of your next scheduled maintenance. When you come in for service, everyone is there to help. Every employee at your Land Rover retailer is a Land Rover enthusiast who enjoys outdoor adventure. Some even compete in Land Rover Trek, a competition for Land Rover personnel across the US and Canada. It's all designed to build enthusiasm and focus on the fun of Land Rover products.
The hood of the vehicle is going to be up in the air, so you're not going to be able to see initially. So you'll want to make your shift into first gear and slowly lower yourself in.
Land Rovers are well known for their off-road capabilities. Perhaps you've never considered venturing off the pavement. May we suggest you give it a try? It will open up new dimensions of the Land Rover experience. There are Land Rover driving schools where certified instructors teach all aspects of off-road operation and technique, from beginner to advanced multi-day trips. Land Rover retailers also provide special opportunities to learn off-road technique with other owners. Wheels events are an excellent entree to off-road adventure.
We're having a blast.
You're going to engage the hill descent button.
It's fabulous. I'll never go off-roading in anything else.
Everyone who discovers the intrigue of off-road driving should first learn some basic principles. Start with the dimensions of the vehicle because they determine where you can and cannot go. Clearance involves more than height and width. Take a look at the front and rear overhangs. They are important factors when there's an abrupt change in terrain. When approaching an obstacle, the front tire must touch first before any other part of the vehicle. Drive up slowly, and don't forget the departure angle. The rear must clear as well.
We want to be very gentle as we crest ridges over rocks or obstacles. Keep in mind, is it going to clear here?
There is also a breakover angle to consider for clearance of the undercarriage. Note the location of the components such as the exhaust system and suspension arms. There must be enough ground clearance to keep them from hitting obstacles. Land Rover is a founding member of the Tread Lightly program, which promotes a healthy respect for the environment. Irresponsible driving can damage terrain and invite closure of recreation areas. Stay on the track and travel only in areas where permitted. Whenever possible, travel with other vehicles. Let someone know your plans, including time of return. It's helpful to have an extra set of eyes when driving through difficult terrain. One person can act as a spotter for the driver.
Not so much.
There are standard hand signals, but it's most important for the driver to understand the spotter's instructions. When you don't have a spotter, leave as much room as possible on the passenger side to avoid obstacles that might be in a blind spot. Stay close to the obstacles on your side where you can easily see them. Grip the steering wheel firmly and keep your thumbs on the outside of the rim. This may prevent injury if the wheel suddenly kicks back when driving through ruts or over uneven ground. When you reach a difficult stretch, get out and inspect it first. Look for obstacles that could damage the undercarriage. The minimum available clearance is just over 11 inches in the off-road mode. Determine your route. There are several options. Whenever possible, you should drive around an obstacle. Remember that the side walls of the tires, both inside and out, are the most vulnerable parts of the entire vehicle. Avoid rubbing and pinching them against rocks. If you can't drive around an obstacle, consider driving over it. Just remember, there must be enough clearance underneath. Another option is to drive over with your tires. Line up the front and rear wheels to raise the vehicle above the obstacle. Drive over slowly, using the brakes when necessary to avoid bouncing. For most off-roading, select Drive Low Range. This allows the vehicle to choose the appropriate gear for the conditions. This is the recommended combination for climbing hills. Resist the temptation to use extra power. Too much speed over a bumpy surface could cause a loss of traction. Descents require braking, but not necessarily in the traditional manner. Shift to first and activate HDC. Downhill speed is controlled by engine braking. Additional control comes from HDC. HDC automatically applies the brakes as needed to maintain a consistent target speed. If the situation requires more braking than HDC provides, gently apply the foot brake. this will override HDC. HDC will reactivate when the foot comes off the brake. At the bottom, shift back to drive. Driving in loose terrain and slippery conditions often causes loss of traction. To help maintain traction in sand or loose gravel, keep a steady speed. Electronic traction control helps distribute power to keep the vehicle moving. In snow or mud, when a wheel starts to spin, apply smooth, steady throttle. ETC will brake the spinning wheel and send power to the wheel with more traction. Follow the track and keep up the pace. When your off-road outing is over, inspect the vehicle before returning to pavement. Check the tires for damage, both inside and out, and the undercarriage for any debris.
Steady with it.
Wheels events can have a profound effect on people.
Oh, it's incredible because you're just seeing sky when you went up there.
Sky driving, not skydiving.
They're a good way to learn the basics of off-roading and are frequently offered by Land Rover retailers all over the country and around the world.
This is just a way of life, you know.
Now that you're more familiar with your vehicle, add some adventure. The Range Rover driving experience offers you a world of exciting opportunities. Most importantly, this is a lifestyle that you can only have with a Land Rover.